he's been gagging. That sounds sexual. He's been gagging him with. And his, this segment's going off the rails. And he's gagged a lot of his other employees as well.
Cause one single will make you a hit. Stay true to who you are and don't never forget.
And so here we go again, back with another one. Welcome to the Dark Times channel. And before I go ahead and get started, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that like button for me. And if you're not new to the channel and you enjoy the content so far on this channel, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me as well. And so let's go ahead and dive right into this one. This isn't going to be one of my longer videos, but just something I came across, something that y'all may or may not already know as it pertains to Candace Owens. And it's no secret on how I feel about Candace Owens on this particular platform. I've said my piece on her before. And Candace Owens is somebody that looks like a Black American and cosplays like a Black American, but she's not one. She has no lineage connecting herself to this soil. And so she's somebody that has no problem grifting and finding her niche anywhere that she can find it. Anybody that is willing to give her a platform and a dollar, she's all for it. As long as, and there always is one, as long as she does not offend or criticize the people that are funding her. Because a lot of times, a lot of the so-called Black supporters, the Candace Owens supporters, the number one thing that they'll bring up is that Candace Owens critiques the Black community. And she calls out degenerate culture within the Black community. And I have no issue with that, because a lot of us do the same. A lot of us call out a lot of the degenerate culture within the community. But the only difference is we don't go on other people's platforms and openly do it without having a constructive dialogue about it. We actually try to get to the root of it. We actually try to solve the issues. And Candace Owens is somebody that's smart enough to know that a lot of the so-called Black, especially so-called Black degenerate culture that's promoted, it's out of our hands. It's in the hands of individuals like this.
They seem like they're making it cool to be drinking lean and syrup, and
it's the most dangerous. It's the most dangerous thing that's facing our society.
Are you
so why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent or issues, and I said talent. But I have to. I can't give up on people.
Don't you think that's hypocritical though? You're saying
it's opportunistic.
Yeah.
I got people to feed. I got a business to run.
You're gonna make Dame Dash take this clip and call you a culture vulture.
And so at the end of the day, it's individuals like this that sit back and dictate what part and what segment of Black culture or so-called Black culture that's going to be promoted to our youth, promoted to our babies, promoted to some of the most vulnerable individuals within the so-called Black community. And this is something that I've said before. An individual or a group of people are only as good as the image that they have to look at. I always point to Eminem, the Eminem effect. I'm old enough to remember when Eminem first popped off, and I'm also old enough to remember that almost every single white boy in my school, almost with zero exception, was trying to dye their hair blonde and wear wife beaters to school. That's just how it was. He was that big. And that's just an example of one artist and what one artist can do almost overnight. And within the so-called Black community, we've had hundreds, if not thousands, of artists with a particular image that was being portrayed to our youth. And so there's no refuting what the power of imagery can do. And this is something that they know, because this individual that spoke on here, I believe his name is Cohen, he would never ever allow the same level of imagery to be promoted to his babies and children that look like his babies. That would never happen, no matter how much money that he was making. Like he said, he had mouths to feed. He would never allow that, no matter how much money was on the table. And so image is not just important, image is everything. Ultimately, it comes down to what you believe, but your beliefs are based on what you see and what you listen to. And so your subconscious mind entertains it and relates it as reality. And this is also something that Candace Owens knows. She's no dummy. And so that's why most of us don't have respect for Candace Owens, because she doesn't have respect for herself or anybody that looks like her. She's the same individual that can have a baby shower. She can host a baby shower and not have one single face that looks like her. It's very telling. You're bringing a life into this world and nobody shows up that looks like you. Nobody shows up that's gonna look like your baby. Either nobody was invited or nobody showed up. Either way, that's not a good look, and that's very telling. And so this is the story that I really wanted to get to as it pertains to Candace Owens and the gag order that she received from the Daily Wire. And so the two individuals on this particular show are gonna say something pretty interesting. I want y'all to pay attention, and then of course I'll come back and chime in.
Yeah, that's
that
my
was
point.
fine. Yeah.
But then when it crossed the line, Kay defended her even when she was doing the whole Kanye defense.
Yeah,
when he was
that's
like, I'm going to go DEFCON 3 on the G or whatever
That's
it was. And she was even still defending him when he did his meltdown, saying, I love her.
That's right.
And there was no consequences. Again, the time where there were consequences was when, after October 7th, right? When,
Yeah.
And there, all of a sudden, a month in or whatever, there's a lot of criticism of the Israeli government. She echoed some of them, and then it's like,
Yeah.
gone.
You actually, I mean, you see this kind of commonly on the right,
Sure.
where like actual like aggressive neo-Nazism and whatever, like Kanye or Candace's comments, etc. That's fine. Just don't criticize the state of Israel.
yeah.
That's the hard line.
That
you
marriage,
cannot
by the way,
cross.
that marriage is ethno-staters loving ethno-staters.
Yeah.
That's why there's a little bit of a,
Yeah. There were.
don't
I
fight
mean,
each other mentality
I'm just-
with the supremacists and the Zionists.
Yeah, as an example, there were neo-Nazis marching in Charleston, West Virginia that they were fine with, but oh my God, on college campuses, they don't like the war. We've got to completely destroy free speech and send in 1,000 NYPD cops and crack their skulls and whatever. They're practically, but actual Nazis marching, no, we're good with that. That's fine.
And so they just said the quiet part out loud. They just broke down what this entire conflict is about. And this is something that I'm definitely not going to dive too deep into, and y'all already know the reasons why. I enjoy my channel. I like my platform. And so I'm going to tiptoe it around it just a little bit, but they pretty much summed everything up. And this is something that either Candace Owens didn't fully understand or she wasn't prepared for. And this is something that Candace Owens should have known. You can say what you want about the blacks. You can talk about black on black crime. You can talk about all the degenerate culture within the black community. You could talk about Chicago. You could talk about all the other talking points that we need you to talk about. But don't you dare ever open your mouth to critique us. And y'all know what I mean, us. And I'm pretty sure Candace Owens thought she was going to have some of the protections and backings like some of the other, more notable political pugnates get, but she's not getting that. Instead, what she's getting her wake-up call. And y'all know which one. And so it's going to be interesting to see where it goes from here as it pertains to Candace Owens, because she definitely can't come back because she never was in. And that's all I had on this one, but make sure you guys feel free to chime in the comment section. And as usual, peace and chaos.